This is 1920. Time to live a little. Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 Downton Abbey moments. For this list, we're taking a look at the most charming, tragic, and unexpected moments from this acclaimed period drama series. It should go without saying, but a spoiler alert is in order. Number 10, Mr. Pamuk's body.
What happened? I don't know. A heart attack, I suppose, or a stroke, or...
Lady Mary is immediately drawn to Kamal Pamuk, but she's taken aback when he makes sexual advances. Despite her apprehension, the persuasive Mr. Pamuk convinces her to spend the night with him. Their passionate evening takes an unexpected turn for the worse, however. As Mary loses her virginity, Pamuk suffers a heart attack and dies in her bed.
He was alive and suddenly he cried out and then he was dead. But why was he here at all?
To preserve the eldest Crawley daughter's reputation, her mother and her loyal servant Anna help move the body. The three return Pamuk to his room, although the scullery maid Daisy catches them in the act. This was the first of many scandals that befell Downton Abbey, and it offered a glimpse of how jaw-droppingly good the series would become, while working in some dark humor.
I couldn't. It's not possible. If you don't, we will figure in a scandal of such magnitude it will never be forgotten until long after we're both dead.
Number 9, Mr. Carson's proposal.
I do want to be stuck with you.
Although they kept their relationship strictly professional for most of the series, Mr. Carson and Mrs. Hughes have always felt like a married couple. As the butler and head housekeeper at Downton Abbey, they've developed an intense and meaningful bond while maintaining order in the household. It was positively uplifting when they walked along the beach together, but we'd have to wait another year for Carson to finally pop the question. Having purchased a property in their names, Carson confesses his feelings for Mrs. Hughes and asks for her hand in marriage.
Well?
She's quick to accept the old boobie's overdue proposal, practically moving them both to tears of joy. After so much will they won't they tension, this sentimental declaration of love couldn't have been more satisfying.
Of course I'll marry you, you old booby. I thought you'd never ask.
Number 8, Edith left at the altar.
Well, fashionably late is one thing.
It's not easy being the middle Crawley daughter. Every time it looks like Lady Edith is going to find happiness, failure and sorrow seem to be waiting around the corner instead. Case in point, her wedding day. Despite a significant age difference, Edith is keen on dedicating her life to Sir Anthony Strauchan. As the bride arrives at the altar though, Strauchan suddenly gets cold feet.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered...
I can't do this.
Not wanting Edith to throw her life away, the elderly groom calls the wedding off.
You know it's wrong. You told me so yourself several times.
My dear chap.
No. I never should have let her get this far.
To be fair, Strauchan only had Edith's best interest at heart, but he couldn't have chosen a worse time to drop this bombshell. The audience is every bit as devastated as Edith, who just can't catch a break. Number 7, Anna's rape.
Don't be silly, let me pass.
You look to me like you could use a bit of real fun for once.
Valet Alex Green might seem friendly at first glance, but he shows his true colors when he attacks Anna Bates in the kitchen.
Now let me by, please.
Perhaps you've forgotten what you're missing.
The head housemaid screams for help, but everyone else is preoccupied upstairs as Dame Nellie Melba sings. Following the sexual assault, Anna is left in pieces, while Mr. Green resumes his normal duties.
We must tell someone.
No.
But you have to tell Mr. Bates.
Him least of all.
This was easily the most controversial subject Downton Abbey ever tackled, with many critics arguing that the show had gone too far. While Anna's rape was undeniably brutal, it's also an iconic and shocking moment from the series that we won't soon forget. Number 6, Cora's miscarriage.
Pregnant?
You need me quite so shocked.
After tirelessly searching for a male heir, Lord Grantham's problems are seemingly solved when his wife Cora becomes pregnant. If the baby's a boy, he'll inherit his father's property and fortune, preserving tradition. The future of Downton Abbey is put back in jeopardy, however, when maid Sarah O'Brien intervenes. Infuriated that she might be replaced, O'Brien leaves a bar of soap for Cora to slip on. She quickly regrets this cruel deed and attempts to correct her wrongdoing, but it's too late. Cora falls and loses her unborn child.
My lady, if you could just wait.
It's a haunting moment that left viewers stunned. To make matters worse for Lord Grantham, it turns out the baby would have been their sole son.
It was a boy.
Number 5. Bates and Anna's wedding.
With this ring, I plight thee my troth.
If there are two people at Downton Abbey that deserve to live happily ever after, it's Mr. Bates and Anna. After overcoming so much, these two finally make it to the altar where they're pronounced husband and wife. With some help from Lady Mary, Anna and Bates get to spend their wedding night in one of Downton's guest rooms.
Smuggle Bates in here when everyone has gone to bed. And for heaven's sake, make sure he gets the right room.
Their evening together is nothing short of heavenly, but this emotional roller coaster ride is still far from over.
You are under arrest on the charge of willful murder.
Shortly after secretly tying the knot, Bates is arrested for allegedly murdering his ex-wife. Our hearts stopped when he was found guilty and sentenced to death. Fortunately, Bates would eventually earn back his freedom and return home to the woman he loves.
Thank God.
Yes, thank God. And you.
Number 4. I'd Wait Forever.
But you haven't come up with an answer yet, have you?
Not yet, I'm afraid.
Along with Bates and Anna, Lady Sybil and Tom Branson were easily among our favorite couples on Downton Abbey. Despite coming from different classes, the youngest Crawley daughter and the family chauffeur share instant chemistry.
And I won't always be a chauffeur.
They'd gladly give up everything to be with each other, although World War I stands in their way. When Tom proposes marriage, Sybil holds off on giving him an answer until the war is over. She asks Tom for a little more time to consider his offer, to which he replies, "I'd wait forever." While this exchange is brief and simple, it says so much about the sincere connection between these two characters.
So we wait.
I'd wait forever.
Number 3. Matthew's death.
Life is strange, isn't it?
In so many different ways.
Matthew and Mary's relationship certainly had its ups and downs over the years, but Downton's primary couple reaches the pinnacle of happiness upon welcoming a baby boy into the world. Now that Lord Grantham has 2 heirs, it appears everything will work out for the Crawley family. Unfortunately, this joyous occasion is followed by tragedy, as Matthew dies in a car crash on the way home. While the show had killed off major characters before, the idea of Matthew dying was considered unthinkable by audiences, and was received by fans with anger, shock, and profound sadness. This twist was a major game changer, showing the Crawleys that nothing lasts forever.
And tell Mr. Matthew he must wait his turn. He's seen the baby, and they haven't.
Number 2. Lady Sybil's death.
Oh, my darling.
How busy!
My darling, all you need to do is rest.
Part of what made Matthew's death so traumatic was that viewers were still coping with the loss of Lady Sybil.
Help her, please, what's happening?
She can't breathe.
In addition to being Lord and Lady Grantham's youngest daughter, Sybil was arguably the most modern and spirited Crawley. After marrying Branson and giving birth to a baby girl, Sybil's future seemed brighter than ever.
Oh, my darling. I do love you so much.
Her happiness was short-lived though, as she began convulsing and suffers one of the show's most untimely deaths. Watching Sybil take her last breath is gut-wrenching to say the least. As the family surrounds her deathbed, the audience is left at a complete loss for words. Adding to the grief, Sybil's death could have been prevented had her father listened to Dr. Clarkson and taken her to the hospital.
But Sir Philip and your father knew better, and now she's dead.
Before we get to our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions.
You mean I'll kiss the bride?
We both know we're going to get married in the end. We know we're right together.
Yes, I suppose we do.
Number 1. Marry Me, Mary.
You're really going to America?
Downton Abbey was fearless when it came to breaking our hearts, but it was also never afraid to be utterly romantic. Ever since Mary and Matthew met, we wanted nothing more than to see them together. It was especially touching when Matthew returned home from war and joined Mary in a duet.
I would say such wonderful things to you. There would be such wonderful things to do.
But nothing can top this elegant proposal. On a picturesque Christmas night, Matthew and Mary lay all their cards on the table. Deciding to forgive and forget, Matthew asks Mary for her hand in marriage. Mary is eager to accept, although she's adamant that Matthew gets down on one knee first.
You must say it properly. I won't answer unless you kneel down and everything.
This scene can only be described as enchanting, and is Downton Abbey at its finest.
Lady Mary Crawley, will you do me the honor of becoming my wife?
Yes.
Do you agree with our list? What's your favorite Downton Abbey moment?
How did you know about Mrs. Clark?
For more dignified top 10s published every day, be sure to subscribe to MsMojo.
Ladyship, I was only joking.
Please, Miss West, I prefer not to discuss it, except to say that your values have no place in a civilized home.